Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to Way of the Underhells, your ultimate guide to Games Workshop's gritty and immersive skirmish game Necromunda. So whether you're brand new to the dark depths of Hive Secundus or a veteran looking to sharpen your skills, this series is your go-to resource for mastering all aspects of the game. From gang warfare to campaign strategies, we've got you covered. And on today's video, we're going to give you guys a starting roster for an unofficial gang that I actually created on this channel. In the lore of Necromunda, they mentioned two guilds from the merchant guilds that never actually received rules yet. That's going to be the Electric Guild as well as the Air Guild. And in one of my earlier videos that I did last year, I actually made a delegation for an Air Guild alliance if you wanted to actually take that role and actually have that in your campaigns. And since we're not making gangs for almost every single gang that's available for starting rosters for Hive Secundus, I thought it'd be kind of cool to take those rules I made for the unofficial rules for the Air Guild and actually make a starting roster for Hive Secundus if you wanted to play an Air Guild Outcast gang for yourself. Now, once again, these rules are unofficial whatsoever, so because of that, you really can't use this in official Games Workshops type campaigns or in tournaments, that kind of thing. It's just something that you could do for fun if you want. Now, because the video will be a little bit more of a deeper dive, I will put timestamps in the description box down below so that we can click and navigate to the part of the video that interests you the most. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about playing the Air Guild in your games of Necromunda Hive Secundus. So the first thing to remember about the Underhells campaign is that there's a lot of new variables that are thrown at players going directly into the Underhells. One of the biggest ones, of course, is going to be visibility challenges. Your visibility is reduced anywhere between 18 and 9 inches, depending on which level of Hive Secundus you're actually traveling through in your phase of the campaign. So having visibility is going to be a big problem for a lot of gangs, especially if you're more of a shooting heavy type of gang. At the same time, gangs also will suffer from trading as well as recruitment challenges, because depending on what level of Hive Secundus you're at, it kind of restricts whether you can recruit people and what kind of weapons and equipment you can get from your house lists. So that's something you do have to take into consideration. At the same time, insanity conditions is going to be a huge problem as well, because we're having like this Lovecraftian Eldritch horror game mechanic with Hive Secundus, so willpower is going to be very important to you, because otherwise you will become insane and the insanity condition cause all kinds of problems for your fighters. Not to mention, for the first time ever, we do have roaming horrors now, which means that we have a third party that you have to fight against. So not just against you and your opponent, but now we have Malstrain NPCs on the tabletop that you also have to deal with as well. At the same time, because of this, in order to deal with some of these issues, for visibility, things like photo goggles, infrasights are going to be extremely important for your gangs. Flares, which is a very common type of equipment that you can get on the trading post, is going to be your very best friend in this setting, because they only cost 20 credits. They also illuminate the battlefield as well. You could go with photo lumens for 15 credits, but the problem though is that you also reveal your position when you use those, so that's why that's not as an optimal choice as say flare will be. And at the same time, willpower is going to be more of a problem more than ever before, because a lot of gangs do struggle with the willpower characteristics, especially if you're an outcast gang, because most of your fighters have willpower 8+, because otherwise you fail your willpower test, you could become insane in some situations. So that's something you do have to take in consideration as well. And like I said before, trading and recruitment is going to be a huge problem for a lot of gangs, even outcast gangs a little bit, because you got to be able to find your fighters, at the same time also get equipment to make them survivable in the campaign setting. Another consideration that you do have to take into effect is the Archeo-Hunter versus Malstrain allegiance. In this campaign, you're either a Archeo-Hunter, which means that you're like a treasure hunter that's going into Hive Secundus to look for wealth and for loot, or you're a Malstrain allegiance, which means you're kind of like one of the groups that's in the area that's kind of surviving out there and more of a hindrance. And the reason why that's the case is because depending on which allegiance you take, you can either take Abyssal Ferryman teams as your alliance in this campaign, or you get additional 400 credits to get vehicles as well as mounted fighters. Archeo-Hunters get the Abyssal Ferryman teams, while the Malstrain Legions only gets 400 credits to add to their rosters. Now, the biggest difference between both these groups is probably going to be the madness rules that take effect in this campaign. Technically speaking, at the earlier parts of the campaign, the Archeo-Hunters have a little bit better chance of the madness rules as opposed to the Malstrain Legions, but as the campaign develops, Archeo-Hunters are going to have a lot of problems, while Malstrain Legions are going to be perfectly fine. Now, regardless of which side you take, though, both do suffer from trade as well as recruitment challenges. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Outcast gangs specifically in the Underhells campaign. Now, aside from Venators, you're going to be the most diverse gang that's out there, just because you can take delegations, which will give you an edge, because those delegations usually have some really good weapons or equipment, or they have really good skills or characteristics that you use to your advantage, or rather than over other gangs that are just kind of starting out from scratch. The problem that you're going to run into, however, though, as an Outcast gang is that mental stats, especially willpower, is going to be a problem for you, because Outcast gangs are not really known for their leadership, their cool, their willpower, or their intelligence scores, so that's going to be a huge hindrance for you as well. Now, your recruits are also cheaper because you are an Outcast gang, but like I said before, recruiting challenges are going to be issued no matter if you're Archeo-Hunter or a Malstrain Allegiance, so that's something you do have to take into consideration. And it could be a bit of a problem for Outcast gangs because your fighters aren't really all that good on their own one-on-one, so you do have to worry about that as well. So let's talk about the playstyle for the gang that I made for this video. This gang is called Blood on the Wind is what it's called, and it's going to be an Air Guild Outcast gang. Now, for your information, the Air Guild in this video is actually a homemade faction. It's not official in any way, so don't try to take these rules to anything official out there with tournaments or campaigns or things, just because it's something that I homegrew myself. The reason why is because I thought the Air Guild would be kind of a cool faction to have rules for, and there was nothing out there at the time, so I just kind of made my own rules, so that way I could use it for my own gaming group if I wanted to. Now, the playstyle for the Blood on the Wind gang is primarily going to be a close quarters battle oriented gang, so you'll mainly be fighting in the medium to long, short range, so anywhere between 12 inches for shooting, more to 6 inches as well. A lot of close combat as well, and the reason why is because the environment of Hive Secundus pretty much caters to that style play style, so in order to make you a little bit more survivable, that's how I kind of oriented your gang. At the same time, if you do decide to become an Archeo-Hunter for this, the Abyssal Ferryman team that I provided to you will give you some additional firepower because you're going to need it, because most of your stuff is more geared towards close quarters battle rather than long range shooting, so the Abyssal Ferryman team is going to help you out a little bit. And if you take the Malstrain Legions on this one, the vehicle I've created for you is more of a close quarters battle vehicle, so you just keep on pressing your enemy and getting them in close combat for the most part. So let's talk about your Archeo Tech Hunters list rated at 1,250 credits. I've been making 1,250 credit lists for this video series, and the reason why is because a lot of things I'm seeing online, especially for like Yak Tribe as well as Reddit, a lot of arbitrators are letting their Underhells campaigns players actually create lists at 1,250 credits. So that's the reason why I'm putting at that value. Obviously, if you don't want to play at that value, you want to play at the even 1,000, you can just subtract 250 credits from this list. Now this is going to be the Blood on the Wind list, which is going to be based on the Aethermatic Rigging Crew delegation that I created in an earlier video. So first of all, let's talk about your leader for your group. His character's name is going to be Captain Valen Thorn. He's going to be a Zephyrman. The Zephyrman is the leader of the delegation in my rule set. And he's going to cost 135 credits. He's going to have a 5-inch wound allowance, 4+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 8 intelligence. He's going to be an Outcast gang leader with a mutant archetype, so that way you can get mutations for your gang. He's going to have a hazard suit which comes stock with him, which gives you immunity to blaze as well as radphage, and also gives you a bonus for toxin attacks as well. He's also got, it gives you a 6-up armor save as well. He's also armed with a sawn-off shotgun with salad as well as scatter shot, as well as a shock stave for close combat. He's also got a respirator to deal with any kind of toxic attacks that come his way. And for his mutation, we're giving him wing membranes, so that way he can actually fly around the battlefield and kind of glide from one location to another, which makes sense because if you're going to be working in the Air Guild and working in air ducts as well as up in the upper atmosphere of Necromunda, being able to glide around might be something useful to you. Now this character does have Catfall as base, as well as the same thing with the Overseer skill as well, because those are the rules I had for the delegation. Now the Zephyrman, I basically utilize the rules of a Outland Beastmaster in order to create that character, and the reason why is because you do have access to exotic beasts called Zephs is what they're called, and in the lore the Zephs are creatures that are like gaseous creatures with tentacles that suffocate their opponents. So in this list I've actually given you 2 Zephs in this list. One's called Vapor Gas and the other one's called Oxythra. Now both of these of course cost 160 credits in total, 80 credits apiece. Now for their characteristics, they do have a 7-inch wound allowance as well as a 4+ blow weapon skill, a 6+ ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 7 cool, 8 willpower, as well as an 8 intelligence. They also have the flight special rule, and they fight with teeth, which basically allows them to strike at their unarmed close combat. Now they do have ferocity as a primary skill as well as combat as a secondary skill, and they also have the special rule Pack Hunter, which means the Zeph can assist other fighters and can gain the benefits of an assist as well. They also have the special rule Air Thieves, which reads that for every enemy fighter that a Zeph takes out of action, the Zeph either removes all flesh wounds, heals a wound, or gets +1 to its wound characteristic, because according to the lore, the Zephs kind of suffocate their opponents to become stronger as a result of that. And then we also have the Zeph Pack special rule, which means you may have up to 3 Zephs that cost 80 credits apiece. So you're going to have 2 of these guys attached to your leader, which is Captain Valen Thorn, because he's a Zephyrman and these Zephs actually respond to him, and that's pretty much how they're supposed to work. Now your first champion is going to be a character named Garrick Goldtooth Dren. He's going to be an arrow loader, which is basically like the, what is it, guild factotum, I believe is what they're called in the guild delegation rules. This character is going to cost you 190 credits. They have a 5-inch wound allowance, 4+ weapon skill, 5+ ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, 1 attack, 8 leadership, 7 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 8 intelligence. Now it's going to be an Outcast champion with the mutant archetype. They automatically come with a hazard suit for base, as well as a harpoon launcher and a pole arm for a close combat weapon. The reason why is so that way they can kind of grab things with the pole arm and then shoot their harpoon launcher to grab like crates and stuff like that in the upper atmosphere. At least that was the lore I had at the idea that they got when I created this. They also have a cult icon because every single guild factotum in Necromunda has a cult icon for larger group activations. He also has a respirator as well, and we're giving this character the vast bulk mutations. That way he gets +1 to his wound characteristics, so he has 3 wounds instead of 2. And we also gave him the bulging bicep skill because that comes stock, so that way you can fire this. You can use the harpoon, the pole arm as a close combat weapon. Your second character is going to be Kayla Vosh. She's going to be a mutant outcast champion, costing 140 credits. She's going to have a mutant archetype with a hazard suit for that 6-up armor save, as well as a pole arm and a combat pistol with stub gun, as well as plasma pistol, because that's a very powerful shooting combination as well. We're giving the wing membranes mutations so that way she can also glide around from spot to spot, and we're also giving the bulging biceps ability so that way you can remove the unwieldy trait from weapons. That way she could also use her pole arm and her combat pistol together in close combat, giving you additional attack when you go on the charge as well. Now it's time for us to talk about your individual Outcast Hive Scum. So we have Bosun Lash. He's a mutant Outcast Hive Scum, costing 130 credits. He's got a hazard suit, as well as a shotgun with solid and scatter ammo, as well as choke gas grenades, because those things are amazing. And he also has the tentacles mutations, so that way he can parry with his unarmored attacks. Then we have Selen Nix, another mutant Outcast Hive Scum, costing 155 credits. Once again, they also have hazard suit. They have a sawed-off shotgun, because those things are actually quite good in the close range, as well as choke gas grenades, as well as vast bulk, because that's exactly one of the things that you get from this delegation is access to choke gas grenades. Up next is Kip Lorne, another mutant outcast hive scum, costing 120 credits. This character's also got a hazard suit, as well as an auto pistol and flail, and also packing choke gas grenades and the vast bulk mutations that we have 2 wounds instead of 1. You want to make sure you guys have hazard suits, because in case you misfire with those choke gas grenades, you don't take out your own fighters out of action. After that, we have Hawkeye Wren, another mutant outcast hive scum, costing 80 credits. This character's got a hazard suit, as well as a last gun and a last pistol for a backup weapon, and also wing membrane, so that way they can fly around and get into a good elevated position, so that they can open fire with their last gun. We then have Bramble Jax, another mutant outcast hive scum with 80 credits. This character's costs 80 credits with his hazard suit, auto gun, auto pistol, and once again wing membranes as well. Bramble Jax is supposed to be up there with Hawkeye Wren from an elevated position, jumping from position to position so that way they can rain fire on the enemies down below. And then we have Ruik and Ran. They are a mutant outcast hive scum, costing 60 credits. They have a hazard suit, as well as a stub gun and a reclaimed auto pistol, and they have the 2 heads mutation, so that way they can take advantage of the twin gun blazing special rule with their stub gun and the reclaimed auto pistol, plus they have a 180-degree vision arc. Now for your Abyssal Ferryman team on this one, I decided to go with the Special Weapons Abyssal Ferryman team. This one's going to be, of course, led by Tehart Cold Rain Taco. He's basically got a Ferryman skipper with Movement 4, Weapon Skill 4+, Ballistic Skill 3+, 3 Strength, 4 Toughness, 2 Wounds, 3 Initiative, 2 Attacks, 7 Leadership, 6 Cool, 7 Willpower, as well as 5 Intelligence. This character automatically comes with Mesh Armor for 5 Armor Save, as well as a Plasma Gun, because those things are amazing. He's got a Stub Gun for backup weapon, as well as Photo Goggles that we can shoot in all visibility conditions, and we're given the Fast Shot skills so that we can open fire twice with that Plasma Gun. Like I said, your Abyssal Ferryman team on this list is going to be providing the longer range shooting, while most of your other gang for the Outcast gang is more of like a close quarters battle list. Your Ferryman rig hand's name is going to be Cantez Crazy Shot Stone. He's going to have Movement 5, 4+ Weapon Skill, 4+ Ballistic Skill, 3 Strength, 4 Toughness, 3 Wounds, 5 Initiative, 2 Attacks, 8 Leadership, 8 Cool, 8 Willpower, as well as 7 Intelligence. This character's got Flak Armor, as well as a Grenade Launcher with Frag and Crack Grenades. They also have the Photo Goggles, so that way they can fire in all visibility conditions. And they also have the Overwatch skills, so that way you can interrupt enemy activations with your Grenade Launcher, because why not? It's a really fun way to kind of message your enemies. And lastly, your Ferryman Steersman is going to be called the Wild Beast. It's a custom rig with a mining laser, as well as a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades, and it's also got an easy turnover engine. Mining lasers are perfect to use against enemy vehicles. Grenade launchers are great to use against soft as well as hard targets, so you really can't go wrong with this vehicle. So now that we're done talking about the Archeo-Hunter list, let's go and talk about the Malstrain Allegiance list. This could be also rated at 1,250 credits, and it's also Blood of the Wind, the Aethermatic Rigging Crew. And just to give you guys a heads up, it's going to be exactly the exact same list I use for the Archeo-Hunters list, just because it's a good all-around list that's good for close quarters battle, and it works out pretty well. The only difference, of course, that you will not have access to the Abyssal Ferryman team, so instead you get 400 credits, which we're going to talk about how you can use those 400 credits for your vehicle. Your vehicle is going to be called the Sky Cutter. It's going to be piloted by a guild of coin haulers. You're going to spend all 400 credits on this vehicle as well as the driver. You're going to give yourself a wolf quad because those things are wicked fast. They can also cause a lot of problems. You're also going to equip this thing with a heavy flamer because those things are absolutely amazing. You can set opponents on fire. Enemy vehicles have to take a cool test or they suffer a handling test if they fail. We're giving this thing reinforced armor as well as a ram, so that way it's a little bit more survivable. And that ram also will give you a lot of speed with that wolf quad, which will give you a high strength ramming attack against enemy vehicles that you can take out. We're also giving this thing all-wheel steering for an improved handling as well as a nitro burner, so that way you can increase your speed when you ram enemy vehicles, which also generates a larger hit against your enemy vehicles as well. We also got wheel skies so that we can swipe anybody's left over, and headlights, of course, in case you run into situations where visibility can be a problem. Now, for your campaign development, first of all, getting flares. Flares are both cheap and effective for visibility solutions in this campaign setting. They also cost 20 credits a piece, so it might be a great way to do that. I'd recommend also saving up your photo goggles and your infrared sights for your shooters. So guys, for example, like the guys armed with the last gun as well as the auto gun would be good to use for that. At the same time, also save up between phases for your big purchases because you have 2 down phases in the Underhells campaign and they get 250 credits each time. So use it to get things like brutes, for example, or hanger-ons or anything else that you want to get for a big purchase for your gang. At the same time, I also recommend purchasing respirators as soon as possible for all your fighters because you want to get more choke gas grenades if possible for your fighters, so that way they can lob those and take your enemies out of action because that's what the air guild does. They can either save you with good air or poison you with toxic air. So there you guys have it. This is my overall review of the Air Guild, which is of course an unofficial guild that I actually put together in my videos over the last year. So if you guys are interested in playing the Air Guild for your campaigns of Hive Secundus, would you recommend using this video in order to help you build up your list as well? The Underhells campaign covers a brand new environment and a new set of challenges for players to face, which could be a lot of fun as well. Also, remember to make out for those environmental effects in your campaign because those could be quite deadly. And remember, close quarters battle is your friend in this campaign setting, so get used to being up close and personal with your enemies, because that's the best way to survive in the Underhells. So that's good for this video, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. If you guys have any suggestions for some other videos that you like me to make for the Underhells campaign, please put it down in the comment box down below. And if I like your idea, I will make a video and give you credit for giving me the idea. That's good for this one, you guys. I will catch you guys next video. Peace out and stay classy.